turn them on. Okay, I'd like to call the public hearing to order. Please rise and we'll pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Tonight is a public hearing, so the town clerk will read the legal notice.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held at the Town of Clinton Town Hall on October 19th, 2017, at 6:45 p.m. to discuss the proposed community development block grant project at the Francis J. Mark Memorial Park for the upcoming grant cycle.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, that was so short. Okay, at this time, we'll have Councilwoman Cunningham explain the purpose of what we're trying to do for the funds, and then we'll open up the floor for comments. So describe what the project is.
Okay, the Community Development Block Grant is really another way for us to get additional upgrades to the Franmark Park. What we're going to submit in the event that everything is approved, that it's consisting of upgrading the existing equipment, adding some new features to some of the equipment to make it a little more accessible to younger children, to apply upgrades to the playground itself, the surface of the playground, to make it more viable and more safe. And in some cases, we're adding new equipment, and we're in the process of pricing that right now to see how much we can actually do. It's it can be $100,000 grant, up to $100,000, and we want to take full advantage of it if we can. That's pretty much it.
Tell them what the dollar value is.
The dollar value, what we're trying to do, we really don't have the dollar value at this point.
I thought you
We're
did.
still
Okay.
waiting for bids to come in on the equipment. We'll certainly be well under the 100,000, but we don't have the dollar value right now. My guess is that it's going to be probably close to 80,000, but that's just a guess.
Okay. As we look over the audience, no one's here. We'll wait another 5 minutes or so. Is that okay? 5 minutes?
Sure.
And if nobody comes, we will close this then. So you heard what the project is. After this public hearing, we will then hold a regular town board meeting to approve the application, and it'll also be approval of the preliminary budget. So that's what's going to happen next. So that starts at 7 o'clock. So if you want to go do a few things in between, be my guest.
One of the things I might add to the statements I've already made is we're trying to purchase some equipment that would be more conducive to children using it, children that have disabilities, which I think is in line with what we've done in the past year with upgrading the park for ADAs. So that's it.
In case you just tuned in, we're just waiting to see if anybody's coming to make public comments. There's no one present at the moment here in the town hall. 5 minutes up?
No, you have like another minute.
Okay. Nancy, do you want to make the motion?
Sure, am I going to this?
You're on the public hearing here.
Okay. I'm making a motion that we, okay, thank you. I'm making a motion that we close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Public hearing is closed. I make a motion to adjourn the town board meeting, the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion carried. Public hearing is closed. We will wait till 7 and start the regular town board meeting that's coming up next.
So we don't need these on.
You ready? Okay, I'd like to call this town board meeting to order. We have two topics that we'll cover, and one is preliminary budget and approve the community development block grant application. Please rise and we'll pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. The first item is for the town board to approve the preliminary budget. We've had two workshops in the past, made some changes as we went through both of them. The last set of changes that occurred were we eliminated a deputy tax collector, so that the funding for that was eliminated, saving $1,300. And then zoning revision update was increased by $2,000 to $8,000 to cover the increased cost of the consultant. That cost has been going up this year, and we expect it'll be next year as the push is going to finish it. So those were the changes. The tax rate, essentially, if you add the two together, we're lost in the rounding error, so the tax rate stayed the same as we previously discussed. And the increase in tax rate is still 2.4%, with being $219 under the tax cap. So this year you'll get a town rebate from the state because we're under the tax cap. So with that, ask the board members, anybody have any questions or comments relevant to the?
Well, I'll make a comment
preliminary?
or a question, ask a question based on what you just said as far as being under the tax cap. Did we ever firm up what would happen if the 414 went through? Does that affect our tax cap?
No.
So it's not going to affect our tax cap? It's
Not
not in
tax
our...
cap. It's outside of.
So
our
then realistically, the money that we're allotted here actually would lower our tax cap even more?
It could, yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify
But
that.
until we know
Right.
what the election results are, it's open right now.
Okay, because I know that that was a question that kept
Yeah.
on going back and forth, and we had different opinions one way or the other.
So those are the changes that we had.
I would like to just go on record, at the risk of belaboring the issue, which I don't care to do. I still think we're handling the salaries that we discussed last week. I don't like the way we're doing that. Obviously, the other folks on the board don't agree, but I just wanted to make that clear that I still have reservations about that issue.
Okay. So, received. Anybody else have any comments, discussion items before we motion to approve it?
Well, I have a question as to some mathematical, and I only added up one thing, but if you look at the bottom line on the summary page
Yeah.
as to the grand total, the difference between the previous number and the current number of 2428933 versus the 233, that's $700. And when you carry it over, there's only a $300 difference at the end, but neither of those numbers have changed.
Yeah, well, one of them was, and I made an error, and Elliot asked previously, on the longevity. I miscounted one person, and so that freed up $300 or so.
Okay, so that's where it is.
That's where it came from.
So this is not an Excel spreadsheet that was calculating automatically?
Well, I put a number in wrong.
Right. Okay.
I just made a mistake in counting people. But, it's in the rounding error, it's not in the
No problem.
real big number.
So nothing else has changed, everything
That's
is as we had said? and-
Yeah,
All right.
okay, so, let's see, whoops, wrong sheet. I make a motion to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approves the 2018 preliminary budget and will hold a public hearing on said budget on Thursday, November 2nd, 2017 at 7 PM at the Clinton Town Hall. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any, one negative? One no? Motion carried. Next thing is to approve the Community Development Block Grant application. Nancy?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to be it resolved that the town board approves resolution number of 2017 authorizing submission of the Community Development Block Grant application.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Since there's nothing else before the board, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Raise one
Oh,
issue before we do.
you got an issue?
Yeah, there's a procedural issue.
Oh,
It doesn't apply specifically to either one of these things, although it
Oh,
did
okay.
come up in the context of the budget. I think we need more time to look at stuff. I mean, we had our budget meeting a week ago, and we got these 4 hours before the meeting, and I don't think that's right. I mean, I understand in this particular case, there's not a lot of work that needs to be done, and so on. And there are more opportunities to do it. I understand that as well. But I think in general, we need to have more lead time to review these things. And I
okay,
think you
then
need to give us
we'll
more.
have to start the procedure in September rather than in October.
No, what he's
No,
saying
no,
is
more
the
lead time
corrections that
before
were
the
made
meeting.
from last Thursday, he thinks that we should have gotten it at least by yesterday, so it gave him a day opportunity to.
I don't mean
review.
the entire process. I mean
Oh.
this specific step, and it applies to other things as well. It's not, it came up in this context, but, I mean, just in general, I think having
Agreed.
4 hours to review something and being asked to vote on it
Right.
is not right and not fair to us as board members. I think we need more time to look at this information and digest it if we have questions or what have you. I think that's just a simple way and a better way of doing things rather than last minute, rush, 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 make a decision without really having time to consider the pros and cons.
Right.
That's my,
That's
Oh,
not,
okay.
that's not an unreasonable, because a lot of us didn't have a whole lot of time to
well,
look at this.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right, so.
Other, other than the fact that we already agreed in theory, the numbers that were already changed. So we already knew what was being changed, so it wasn't like so much of a surprise. But I agree in a sense that if there was something that needed to be addressed, I mean, having a day's notice versus an hour notice is certainly warranted.
Yeah.
Even the planning and the zoning boards have windows. Now, there's some flexibility, of course, but still, it's typically a day, 2 days before the meeting that material is circulated, at the latest. That would be the latest time. And I think we should basically do the same kind of thing
Sure.
that the boards do, that's all.
Okay,
That's my 2 cents.
okay. Any other comments? Okay, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I can split the difference with you. I got a penny off the floor here. So your 2 cents, I can add a penny to it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Meeting
take
is adjourned.
I'll take it. Actually, I'll take the whole thing.
Where's this penny?
Not splitting it might be a dean.